So you want to get your real estate license. Great. How much does that cost? Coming up.
I'm buzzing, let's drink up. Your dad look like big fun. Come on, let's get it on. Like that Marvin Gaye song. I'm stunning, you love it. Come on, give me something. I know that you want it. Come on, give me something. The night is young and so are we.
Hey guys, welcome to My Agent Jonathan. I'm Jonathan, your South Florida real estate agent, and today we're talking about the cost of getting your real estate license. So naturally, the first thing people think about when they want to get their license is, hey, I need to go to real estate school. And they look for a school that factors in two of the main things, which is their time and their money. Time because a lot of people are already working full-time or part-time, they have kids or other life obligations. Money in the fact that there are ways that you can get your real estate class through a college, or there are even Groupon courses that say that you can be prepared for your state exam in a weekend. And so those are two big differences here. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what you need to do in the order it needs to be done so that you're able to successfully get your license and hopefully pass your state exam the first try. So unlike what you probably think is the first step, which is to go to real estate school, that's actually not the first step. If you're gonna get your real estate license, the first thing you need to do is to apply for licensing. And that's gonna be through your state business department. If you're in the state of Florida, the website is myfloridalicense.com, and you're able to apply for your license. So why in the world would you want to apply for licensing before you even take the real estate class? It's because in the state of Florida, it usually takes 2 to 3 weeks for them to approve your application. Now, if they need other information from you, you will have to supply that. And there's two things. One, a lot of the correspondence is done by mail. So they're not going to email you and say, hey, we need this, we need that. It could happen, but usually it's the mail is how they correspond with you. And secondly, sometimes if you have to provide new information, that it will extend your application process, approval process, by another 2 to 3 weeks. So this is why you need to do this first. The application is pretty straightforward with basic information, your name, your address. One thing you should know, at least for the state of Florida, is that there is a definite differentiation between your mailing address and your physical address. So if those are not the same, you will need to specify that. You cannot use, in the Florida application at least, you cannot use your P.O. box, if that's your mailing address, as your home address. You need a physical address, so keep that in mind. Another thing is that an arrest does not automatically disqualify you from a license. Now, what their core requirements are, you would have to take that up with both your licensing State Department and also a lawyer if needed. But you do need to disclose of any and all convictions, and that's really important. Minor traffic act violations don't qualify as any criminal activity, except for DUIs. You do need to disclose if you've had a DUI. Now, what the time frame are on when that DUI occurred or any other criminal conviction, I don't know. It varies for your state, but just know that don't be turned off or deterred from getting your license if you've had a little bit of mistakes in the past, okay? When you're applying for licensing, the information that you put on your application, once it's approved, will transfer to your final license. And this is important particularly for emails. So if you're applying for licensing and you want to use your high school email address, just of hellokitty95@AOL.com, well, once your license is approved, that email address will be out in the world, and that's what everyone will be contacting you on. If you don't want this to happen, there's two things that you can do. Number one, create a specific email address for your real estate business before you apply for licensing. Or if you don't have any other email and you want to change it at a later date, you can always write your department and have them change it in their system. All right, so you've completed your application. Now you can register for class. And there are so many classes out there. Classes in colleges, classes in community centers, on Groupon, online, on a hybrid of work from home. So many, and at every price point you can imagine. You know, Groupon is a very big promoter of licensing classes because, hey, it's an expensive course and hey, it's okay to save money. But you should know that every state has a mandated number of hours that you must attend class before you're able to get your license. These classes and schools are mandated by the state, and they have to meet a certain number of requirements to be able to qualify to administer your pre-licensing exam. What you're seeing on Groupon, look closely because it may be just a prep course for pre-licensing or a prep course for the state exam. So Florida has 63-hour mandate to get your Florida real estate license. There's no way that you could get your Florida real estate license in just a weekend. So obviously what you're looking at is not an approved course, and now you've just spent your time and your money on something that doesn't really get you to where you want to go quickly. So there are two main exams that you're going to have to take to get your license. There is the pre-licensing, and then there's also the state exam. The pre-licensing is what qualifies you, passing that is what qualifies you to take the state exam. The pre-licensing is what you're going to take that's the real estate school. That's the 63 hours in Florida mandated amount of time that you need. So that's the big one. It's also, as far as licensing goes, the most expensive thing that you're going to have to buy. Now, I did my pre-licensing course at Gold Coast Schools, They're one of the most well-known schools in the state of Florida, with offices and schools all the way from Homestead towards the Keys and Orlando, and I think they may have other locations as well. They offer classes both in person and online. And like most other schools, they will let you go for 30 days. You can get your license in 30 days, going like 3 days a week, 3 to 2 days a week, or you can go for a whole week, which is 7 days straight, not Monday through Friday. No, it's Monday through Sunday was my last, was when I finished. So it is a complete 7 days. Now, if you are working a lot and you have obligations, I know that the 30 days is going to seem so much more appealing because you have flexibility, you can come in and go out. Not to say it's not a sacrifice, because of course it is, you're taking time out of your day. But I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do a 7-day course. And I guess, we're talking about 8 hours a day and 7 days a week. That's really as quick as you can get the course done. So, I mean, I know it's a sacrifice, but there's so much information that is being taught within this space of time that you need your brain to just take it all in. If you can take a week off of work, maybe that's your week vacation. It's an investment. I understand that. But I did the week course, and having done it, I don't think there was a way that I cannot imagine doing the 1 month course. All right, let's talk about cost. How much is it going to cost to get your real estate license? Again, I'm in Florida, so I'm going to give you the numbers for Florida. But if you're in another state, you can use this for about like a blueprint of what you can expect. Now, the first thing you want to do, of course, is the application. In Florida, it's $83.75. It's kind of a random number, but that's how much it costs. So once you do the application, at the very end, you'll have to pay that amount. The next thing that you have to pay for is the background check. And that background check, at least in Florida, goes for the state and then also to the FBI. So I paid about $85 for that, and I actually did that with the school. It wasn't a part of the class, it was just an additional service that they offered because it needs to be done. So you can do it another way if you want to, but that way must be approved by your state. It must be like a complete background check, depending on their requirements. So every school, if you end up going to a school, they should offer it, but it's about $85 is what I paid. And the next thing I paid for was the actual class. Again, the biggest expense of this whole process, and I paid about $500. I think it was a little bit less if I were to do it online. I think it was like $10 or $20 less if I were to do it online versus a classroom. But I highly recommend that you go into the classroom because people ask questions and you'll be able to learn things. Maybe you have a question that you think is a dumb question, but somebody else asked it and you learned, got the answer, and you didn't have to ask the questions and be embarrassed. So it's always good to do it in person, especially with so much information being thrown at you. Being online is amazing, but it's very easy to get distracted. The last thing that you're going to have to pay for once you have graduated from the class is the actual state exam itself. For Florida, it's $36.75. So you paid for the application, then you pay for the background check, then you pay for the class, and then you pay to take the state exam. If you don't pass the state exam the first time, you can take the test again, but you will also need to pay another $36.75. And that is pretty much all there is. Now, clearly the most expensive part of all of this is the school, and I understand that. With Gold Coast, they include your textbook, and it is an amazing, amazing textbook. Honestly, it preps you for the state exam better than anything I would have expected. Like, there were tests, courses behind it. The state exam, at least in Florida, is a multiple choice 100 question test. There are multiple 100 test exams in the back of the book that you can take after you've actually completed the course. So maybe that's something you can practice on in between graduating and taking your state exam. But don't skip out on the education part of it. Don't skip out on the class. Make sure that you get a good course and take a good, even if it's a little bit more expensive, you want the support. Gold Coast also offers you the ability to pay extra for digital flashcards and things like that. I didn't pay for that, but if you need those learning aids, for sure get them. But honestly, the textbook itself is far and away more than enough to let you pass. And I passed the pre-licensing my first time, and it took 2 times to pass my state exam. And again, that is because I forgot the information waiting for the approval, and I forgot some information. So that is what it is. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this helps you and gives you a clear look at what the cost and the process for getting your real estate license, particularly in Florida. And if you're looking for a home to buy, sell, or at least call your agent, my number's on the screen, or you can email me at myagentjonathan@gmail.com. I'll see you in the next one.